The winter meetings rolling on here. Day 3, Wednesday morning. Tim McMaster joined by Don Mattingly, and Jack Morris is here as well. And Don, obviously, the Marlins have been a big story about this offseason and everything, yes, and the trade so far. I just want to start with, from your perspective, this is a roster that's going to change. And from the manager's perspective, how do you kind of handle the emotions right now of seeing that?
It's kind of two-sided. Obviously, you lose a player like Giancarlo and some of the things that we're going through. That's a little tough, but I can honestly say I don't know if I've been more excited about something. I feel like we're going to build this organization from the bottom up, kind of reset it in a sense, and be a sustainable model, something that where we can be a team every year that we have a chance to compete. And our goal, like every other organization, we're here to win, and we're here to win a World Series, but we got to build our organization back and get it to where it needs to be.
I mean, how do you go about doing that? I mean, we talked briefly here about getting the minor leagues in a better spot than they've been in. And the Marlins are a team that's always been kind of in transition, in and out of the market, figuring they got a chance, and then all of a sudden they dismantle.
Well, I think it's back to, and you're right, we have been a market or a team that's been in transition. I've seen it from afar for a few years, and then actually seen it from obviously inside the doors for the last 2. Mm-hmm. But that plan always changed. There was a plan, like you said, then it would go a different direction. I think with Derek, Michael, where we're going, we have a plan. We're going to stick with it. It's not going to change in 6 months. It's going to be a sustainable model, building something, and we're not going away. We're going to stay with it. We're going to grind it out. We're up in that room working, trying to put this organization together the best way we possibly can.
Obviously, you've known Derek for a long time, the Yankee roots and all of that. How has it been just getting to know him in a new capacity now after knowing him all this time?
It's been great. You never know how that's gonna go, right, or how he's gonna be from the business side. Our meetings in the winter, talking about players and him leading and telling, kind of showing us where the plan, where we're going. It's been great, and nothing changes your confidence in who Derek is, how he goes about his business, how we're gonna play the game, how we're gonna attack this situation that we're in, and it's not going to go away. We're not going to back off of anybody. We're going to just keep going, and we're going to keep going until we get it right.
Are you looking for people like Derek and Don? Because you just said something, but I want to compliment you because both of you guys were the guys that the reason the Yankees were where they were is they had guys like you two that prepared themselves, and they were ready to play the game all the time. And I imagine that's the type of player that the Marlins would like to mold as they come through the system.
We'll talk about the process a lot.
Yeah.
You always want the result, but that foundation of the work and how we prepare to play a game is so important. And that goes from everything from our scouts to our development, how we're going to bring these kids up. That's a process, right? And the same when you get to the big leagues. You got to stay with it every day. You got to do your work on a daily basis. If it goes a little bad, you got to keep going. And so we'll be looking for players that can work through that process. They're coaches and an organization that can help guys, continue to grow and develop.
Sure.
And that's who we're going to be.
You talked about how excited you are and energized about this process. How about the players that are going to be in the room? I don't know how much you talk to them at this time of year, but they see the guys being traded away as well. The guys that are staying, how do you keep them in the right mindset to be like, hey, we're building something special here long term?
I think when the time is right, you bring the players in and you lay out what our plan is as an organization. I think there's a misunderstanding. You want to communicate with your players. You want to make sure they understand where they're at, what you expect from them, and what their responsibilities are, and keep them accountable to their job. I think that doesn't go into the off season where they're a part of making decisions on players and making decisions on where your organization's going. That's a little bit of kind of a miscommunication there.
Donnie, at this point, obviously payroll's a huge part of the decision making for the Marlins. You're very understanding with the contract that Giancarlo had, but Yelich now, the next guy that the rumors are spreading around, at least at this facility, and he's really not to the level money-wise that some of the other guys that you needed to basically get rid of so that you can start building that minor leagues. Where are you at with him?
Well, the one thing I will say, there's a lot of rumors out there.
Yeah.
And as I've watched this whole process, I'd say about 90% of them are wrong. So I think as we look at our plan and how we're going to build this organization, Michael, myself, our player development, Derek, we discuss all of that. How are we going to build this thing? Who are we going to build it around? And go from there. We're not out advertising, what we're doing. There is a lot of rumors out there, and I just say there's a lot of those aren't true.
What about the needs for this team? I mean, we talk about the moves away, but you still have to bring some pieces in, I think, for next season as well. What's the biggest focus in this winter meetings and off season as far as acquiring players?
I think the main thing, as you look at next season, we need pitching. And we kind of got in a situation, we had a lineup that could play with anyone. It was just unbalanced. We had all players. Our pitching didn't match up. And I think, as Jack could tell you, if you don't have pitching, you're not going to compete. So we're looking to build this organization from the bottom up. Since last trade deadline, this process actually started more around the trade deadline last year. We've acquired 19 players. We've put 3 guys from different organizations on our roster. We had a kid win a AA batting championship. So this process has started. Again, like I said, we've added 19 new guys to our organization, and we're going to continue to do that and continue to build.
Tragic death of Jose Fernandez obviously had a factor in all of this direction that they're going.
Yeah, Jose is, obviously I get emotional when you talk about Jose because this is a tremendous kid. Yeah. But just from the baseball side of it, you don't find these guys. Yeah. And, when you have a guy like that, it takes the pressure off your other guys, and we were able to try to add pieces around him. But every time he got the ball, you felt like you were going to win. Yeah. And he was a kid that affected the clubhouse. He affected every game from the standpoint. He was just not a guy who pitched his day and was gone. Those other days, he's on that dugout step competing. As you watch the Kershaws of the world and the Scherzers of the world, they're involved with their team on a daily basis. Absolutely. And that's who Jose was. He affected our team like that. You can't replace it. And it definitely hurt us from the standpoint of being able to move forward.
The two of you obviously played in the same era and faced each other plenty. So I just want to know the approach. Don, what was your approach when you stepped into the box against Jack?
Well, it changed over time. Yeah. Early on, I remember Billy Martin sent me up there to pinch hit when I was a young kid, and Jack basically, it was a 1-2-3, see you later. And I was like, holy, it was like this stuff. He throws this fastball inside, it runs at me, and then he got that split. But over time, as I developed my plan more, it was just a matter of trying to get him in the strike zone, try to stay off of that split and just fight,
How about you, Jack? How did you?
Well, Donnie was one of those rare guys. The best of the best are the guys that when you throw your best pitch, they get contact. They don't beat you, or they don't beat themselves with that pitch. They somehow stay alive, and you have to reload. And after a while, it wears on you. And he was the guy that wore me down, and then I'd make that mistake or give him a ball that he could handle, and he usually made something good out of it. So a tremendous respect. He knows that. One of the best in my whole generation.
Yeah, and from my standpoint, just Jack going into the Hall of Fame, totally excited, him and Tram both. As a player, you're on the field with guys, right? And you just know how good they are because they separate themselves. And for me, it was too long coming, but congratulations and much respect.
Thanks, Donnie.
All right, a lot of changes going on with the Miami Marlins and Don Mattingly right in the middle of things. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you, guys.